want to talk about extensions today, chord extensions. Sevenths, ninths, 11ths, and 13s. What's that all about? So, as you know, chords are built by stacking the odd degrees of a scale. So for G major, for example, the G major chord is based off the G major triad, the first, the third, and the fifth degrees of the major scale. So you get G, B, D, and typical uses all those. So the first extension would be the seventh chord. So if we're playing G major 7, basically you would take that triad and extend it up to the 7th degree. So 1, 3, 5, 7, and you get this chord. There's lots of ways to voice that, and you can look in the books for that, but that's a 7th. So a 9th would be, you would take the G major scale and stack all of the odd numbered scale degrees up to the 9th. So you get a so going further, if we were to play a G major 7, 9, 11 chord, which is very uncommon, by the way. Usually they'll raise the 11th, they'll augment the 4th is what it actually translates to. But same idea, you would play up to the 11th degree. And what is that? How can there be an 9 degrees, 11 degrees? Well, it's because you're just extending beyond one octave of the scale. You're just continuing the scale upwards. So we'd play the first note, third note, fifth note, 7th note, 9th note, 11th note, and you would get something that sounds like this. Now I've buried the 11th in the bottom. And that's an 11th extension with a 9th and a 7th. All major, all natural major. So the 13th, which is the last extension, would go 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 11, 13. And then you'd end up with the 13 is actually just another, it's just a 6th, an octave higher, right? The 11th is a 4th, an octave higher, and a 9th is a 2, an octave higher. If you can remember that, there's really only 3 extension points above a single octave. And so that chord, to sound that out, would sound pretty rich and colorful, and it would go like this. Now the only interval I'm not playing in there is the the 5th, which is kind of an unnecessary. It's one of these chord tones which can, you know, be omitted or, you know, or tweaked, you know, flattened, sharpened, or should I say diminished or augmented is the technical term. So that's very rich. Yeah, so that's chord extensions. Typically you won't find people playing, you know, every chord tone. To play a 13th chord, you'd actually be playing all 7 notes of the scale, just stretched out over 2 octaves. When you break it down, you know, you end up playing the root, obviously. You play the 2nd as the 9th extension. You play a 3rd as part of the triad. You play a 5th as part of the triad. You play a 7th as its 1st extension inside that 1st octave. We've already played the 9th or the 2nd. We've played the 11th or the 4th. And we've played the 13th, which equals the 6th. And those are all the notes in the major scale. And with 6 strings, I can play 6 of those if I omit the 5th interval. So I'm basically playing G, C, F sharp, B, what is that? That's E, A. It's a pretty rich chord. And those are extensions, and basically extensions can be raised or lowered, you know, to add color or accidentals. So, you know, you might see raised 9s or lowered 9s, or raised 4ths, lowered 4ths, raised 13s, lowered 13s, and they have their qualities. Typically, yeah. Anyways, they're it's useful to know just that those other notes are available to you, and I think you start to see how chords, just from that example, how chords and scales are very they can be very interrelated. I mean, technically that G major 7, 9, 11, 13 chord uses all the notes of the G major scale, so you can see how a scale and a chord can be pretty much interchangeable. And on guitar, there's so many different ways to stack these notes, you know, ways that you know, are physically possible given the fact we have, you know, 4 fingers and a limited range. And I'll probably do a video on voicing another time to, you know, show what some of these extended voicings look like, and you know what chord tones tend to be omitted. But I'll leave that for another video. Anyways, I hope that explains some things. Yeah, till next time, stay cool.